I'm sure everyone's gotten into an argument before whether the correct word is octopuses or octopi. Whether it be on the school playground, in higher academia, or even in your professional life, nobody can ever seem to agree on the pluralization of these 8-armed word wonders. I mean, all plurals in English tend to end with s, right? Well, let's settle this aquatic argument once and for all. The word octopus is a noun derived from the ancient Greek root word octopus, with octo meaning 8 and pus meaning foot. Of course, an octopus doesn't actually have feet, but every word in ancient Greek is more of a general comparison rather than a set-in-stone fact. Words tend to be representative rather than literal, or else every spider would be an octopus. Now, in order to pluralize a noun in English, you usually have to add an es or s suffix to the root word, like in bases or subscribers, so make sure to subscribe for more grammar controversies. Now, there are exceptions to these rules, such as geese, which I could get into in another video. But most commonly, the true English plural suffixes are s and es. But when do you use each of these? Es is known to be used on words that end with s, sh, ch, x, or z. S is pretty much used on any other word. Of course, like with every grammatical rule, there are some weird variations, like how tomatoes is spelled with an es, but how avocados is often just spelled with an s despite roughly ending with the same spelling. With that, the plural of octopus using an English suffix would indeed be octopuses. But that still begs the question, is that the right plural suffix to use, even for English speakers? The alternative is octopi, which uses the Latin plural suffix I. Now, among all the plural Latin suffixes, including ICES, AE, and A, the definite correct suffix to use is I, since any word that ends with US should be pluralized with the I suffix. I know that seems like a super specific case scenario, but just think about any Latin word, and there's a good chance that word ends with US. And even the Latin word for octopus is polypus, meaning many feet, literally. So we've determined that the correct Latin plural suffix would make it octopi, and the correct English suffix would make it octopuses. But which is it? History purists believe that octopi is correct because it is the oldest pluralization of the word, dating back to the 7th century BCE, around the city of Rome's founding. Of course, this makes sense, since Latin was spoken mostly in Rome. Root word purists argue that since octopus is derived from a Greek word, there is no way that it should use a Latin suffix, and that therefore octopuses is the correct form. This makes some sense based on how culture mixing is often frowned upon in the grammatical community. However, both these arguments are pretty stupid if you think about them. First of all, ancient Greece was founded 9 centuries before Rome was, making the oldest form actually not that old. Conversely, ending a Greek root word with an English suffix makes about as much sense as ending it with a Latin suffix, making the second argument also mostly invalid, despite it overall being a good point. The root word purists, however, are more correct in their reasoning, but just not with their plural of choice. Greek words should have appropriately derived suffixes, so for this, we turn not to English, but to Greek. We can't quite go straight to modern Greek, however, since the language has changed a lot since the olden days of Aristotle and Socrates. After all, we didn't get the word from modern Greece, we got it from ancient Greece. In ancient Greece, the term is pluralized as octopuses, which in English would become octopodes, which is our definite, etymologically correct pluralization of octopus. Now, I'm definitely not saying you should use octopodes in professional writing or editing. Unfortunately, octopodes is not as widely accepted as a pluralization of the word in the literary community. Merriam-Webster states that octopuses is more right and prefers that pluralization, although both octopuses and octopi are acceptable in their standards. In Chicago style, octopuses is the only correct option, but in Oxford style, all 3 variations are correct, with octopodes being noted as rare in use. So even though octopodes is the absolute correct plural of octopus, you still might be better off sticking to octopuses on your midterm essay for science class.